great basketball.
Defender to the master, Jason Tatum.
Be covering pre and post game back on this channel.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome back into Celtics Postgame Live. I am your host, Rob Haytayan, and joined with me is my co-host, Justin Lowe. Although we got double Robs on the screen right now, Justin. We got two of them. I don't know why that always happens, but we always get a double Rob. Celtics pick up a nail biter, an OT thriller tonight on the road. First game back from All-Star break. Team was fully healthy tonight. Haven't seen that in a while. Obviously, other than Gallinari, the Celtics were healthy heading into the second half or later half, last 20-game stretch of the regular season. Like I said, a close one tonight, 142-138. Jason Tatum led all Celtics scores. He had 31 points. He was teetered around a triple-double night, 31 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. JB, also the co-all-star, 30 points, 11 rebounds off the bench. Malcolm Brogdon, a little homecoming game. He had himself a hell of a game, 24 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. And we got to show love to Derek White, who also gave us 17 off the bench. The Celtics pick up their first win, Justin, this last stretch of the season. They're going to play the Sixers Saturday night. However, before we dive into that, give me your thoughts, your takeaways, your initial reactions for the C's dub tonight.
Yeah, hey, a win's a win. Look, finding ways to win healthy, getting out of these types of games, finding ways to get over the hump, these types of games against these types of teams. Look, the Pacers are a young, tough, gritty team. We get it. But this is also a team that the Celtics should beat. And they had a pretty good lead in the first half against this Pacers team as well. But hey, you know what? A win's a win. Any win's a good win. But right back at it this Saturday against Philly in probably one of the bigger games of the year for the Celtics.
Yeah, absolutely. Philly's going to be looking to Celtics have taken them both times at the Garden, so Philly's going to be looking to really give it to us at home as we're on the road there tonight. You know, one of those games where I think our defense, I think the intensity was there. However, I do think we were just off cue a little bit. First game back from the break, I can give us a pass tonight because we won. If we were to lose, pass wouldn't be there. And that's the luxury of getting these close wins and finding a way to win is you get the pass for kind of playing poorly on one side of the ball. Miles Turner, I mean, he knocked down 8 of 10 from beyond the arc. Career high from career most 3-pointers in his career in a game, 8. So one of those things where it's just like you nod your head, you get back on O, and you say good shot. Some of them were open, I thought. However, the biggest thing that sticks out to me is Robert Williams. He continues to essentially play
the lack of Robert
Williams. He has essentially been out of the top 7 guys. So I'm talking about Tatum, Horford, Brown, Smart, Rob, and then White and Brogdon. Out of those 7, he continues to play the least amount of minutes. And I'm not sure if it's due to injury, if it's that knee, if they're trying to manage him. I mean, Mazzulla has come out and said multiple times that his knee is fine, that he's 100% healthy, that there are no minute restrictions on Robert Williams. Yet I'm starting to get concerned because there were times down the stretch of these games, where this game in particular, where I was thinking to myself, like, Robert Williams needs to be out there. Missed rebound opportunities, sloppy defense, sloppy closeouts, driving the lane, and the spacing wasn't there because you don't have that rim and an interior presence in Robert Williams. This is a guy who's 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year candidate, right in the DPOY race. He's 3rd, and he's only playing 25 minutes a game. And I think that's a problem, especially due to the fact that come playoff time, he's going to need to play hefty minutes. The rotation shortens. So I do think that that's a problem. When you haven't played those heavy 35-minute games, your legs are going to get tired come April when you do, if he is playing those. So that's something I am concerned about is Robert Williams. I do think Grant Williams only playing 6 minutes tonight is a big time, like, whoa, because first time fully healthy, right? The C's rolled out a fully healthy squad. No Grant. That is, I think, should be noted, Justin. I don't know if it was matchup based, but
so my thing is, and maybe it's just because he's the new guy, but I would have liked to see Mike Muscala out there on the floor. He just does so much. At least he did so much in those 3 games played for the Celtics. He gave it to you on both ends of the floor. You threw in Cornette in there for 4 minutes. You threw in Grant Williams for 6 minutes. First time with a fairly healthy roster in a while. Joe Mazzulla certainly had a lot of different options he could go with. Maybe it was a lot for him at once in terms of, he really had, this was the first time he had a lot of options at once. Listen, man, with these 10 combined minutes for Grant Williams and Luke Cornette, I would have either gave all 10 of those minutes to Mike Muscala tonight, or I would have divvied it up, give 5 to Mike Muscala and add 5 more to Robert Williams' total tonight. Because I'll tell you right now, Grant and Luke Cornette essentially, and this is no knock on them at all, but they essentially didn't do anything tonight. And it showed, and maybe that was why their minutes were cut so much in this game.
yeah.
I don't know. And then we go and we say, go add a guy like Will Barton. Well, Will Barton on the court will do a lot of things for you, but is he even going to play when this team is really healthy? So I don't know. I don't want to overreact because we did win the game, so we need to be more positive. But at the same time,
I see where you're coming from because right now, what we're thinking is we need that second wing, which I do think we should go out and explore the buyout market just for honestly security, for a safety blanket, if in case of an injury. I do think we should fill that hole. However, I don't know if a guy on the buyout market who we pick up in late February, early March is going to play a significant role on this team. I'm looking at our guard rotation, and there's no minutes there, plain and simple. White and Brogdon are debatably playing better than Smart and Brown right now. And that's no knock on Smart and Brown. That just shows
how good we are.
Good Brogdon and White have been playing. 24 and 17 respectively from the two of them tonight off the bench. They continue to do it. And you know what is the biggest? They're not just scoring, Justin. You know what they're doing? They're scoring at extremely high volume, and they're doing it at a high percentage. And that is what makes bench scoring so valuable. If you can do it and shoot efficiently, oh my God, forget it. That is the ticket to success come April.
Oh, 100%. Brogdon shot 5 of 6 from 3 tonight, and there was a point in this game where Derek White came in off the bench and started 4 of 4. And look, that type of stuff is incredibly important. And then you had guys like Sam Hauser came in. Hauser was probably only going to play 7 minutes tonight, but he had 3 blocks. He had 3. He shot 3 of 3 from the floor, 8 points, a rebound, and assist. Did a little bit of everything, earned his extra minutes. And then you guys that had DMP healthy scratches like Blake Griffin, Mike Muscala, Peyton Pritchard. Like, we know what we can get out of those guys. That's what's so difficult about this team, even as a fan. Who plays where, who goes, through this type of period. Can we put Tatum, Hauser, and Smart together? Can we put Tatum, Blake, and Muscala together? There's just so many combinations that Mazzulla has to pick from. And this whole Robert Williams thing, I'm going to tell you right now, I need him. And I'm not saying just him personally. I need Joe Mazzulla to play him playoff minutes again. Treat this Sixers game as the Eastern Conference Finals, because this essentially is an Eastern Conference Finals matchup. We could very much see this team in the Eastern Conference Finals even as early as the second round, for sure. Them and the Bucks are almost guaranteed. It just depends on where we meet them, how late we meet them. Treat this like a playoff game. Treat this like a conference finals game. You're fighting for your playoff lives. That's just how I see it. I might be a fan. I might be a young, journalist, broadcaster, whatever you want to call me. But I just feel like we're calling it as it is. And this Robert Williams affects the game so much on both ends of the floor. And I just don't know.
We are clearly better when Rob's on the court. And I think
100%.
there's no debate for that. And I think that if you look at the game log, the first question should be, why is Robert Williams only playing 25 minutes?
Right.
Personally speaking, I think it's because Joe really likes to space the floor and shoot the three. And if this guy is going to be your long-term head coach now, this guy's going to be here for a while. I don't know how to feel with Robert Williams as our future. Robert Williams is supposed to be our franchise center. He's 24 years old. He's coming off of what should have been an all-NBA defensive or all-defensive first-team selection. I believe he was second. I mean, this guy's legit. And I think the fact that you're playing him 25 minutes, that's a problem. But at the same time, there were a lot of positives, right? There's a lot of positives going on in Boston right now. I don't want to nitpick. However, that is something I look at. I am going to continue to monitor. And as the playoffs get closer, and Justin, you make a great point, I'm going to be looking at games, not necessarily against the Pacers. Rob can play 25, 27 minutes against the Pacers, but these games against Philly, against Milwaukee, against Memphis, against Denver, against Cleveland,
right?
He needs to be in the game 30-plus minutes. Not only just because he impacts the game, but because this guy hasn't played heavy minutes in almost a year now, since last June. Back in the finals.
And even then,
he wasn't healthy. Yeah, so you really got to get this guy's legs back under him. And other than that, not really much to dive into this game. I think we're gonna have a much better tell. I think there's gonna be more to grasp from this game against Philly on Saturday night. I think there's gonna be a lot more to talk about for us, Justin. I don't have really much. That's all I have in terms of what you have. I mean, I got all my talking points out the way.
Turnovers tonight.
Yeah.
Come first game back from the All-Star break, you pulled out the win. 7 of those turnovers came in the first quarter, which I thought the Celtics played some of their best basketball in that first quarter. You can't fault them on that. You really can't.
No.
Great intentions just didn't, turn out the way we wanted to. But look, build off of the good stuff, leave the bad stuff here in Indiana. Like, we didn't play a perfect game. We found a way to win, though. We gutted it out. Tatum had a rough game, but was able to focus in that fourth quarter, in that overtime, come out, draw fouls, be aggressive. I thought Marcus Smart tonight was solid in the late game. I loved him and Halliburton going at it. Like, that to me, first of all, I'm not going to complain about the refs, especially since we won the game.
Especially because they like
Halliburton did this. Halliburton did this to Smart, kind of,
yeah.
And then 3 plays later,
and then Smart hits him with a
same thing. Doesn't even open his mouth to get a technical foul. I'm not like, and Scal said it best. Like, everybody complains about how less physical the game is, how nobody really competes anymore. Like, that's competing. That right there is the type of basketball from both players I want to see. The intensity that I think this game lacks that needs to be brought back into the league. Like, we don't have a Kevin Garnett anymore in this league. Like, we don't have a Rasheed Wallace. We don't have an Allen Iverson anymore. The trash talkers, the Tim Duncans, who sit on the bench and kind of talk behind their hands. But I love this competitiveness from the Celtics, and I think that's what the Celtics need. I think that gave them leverage in the second half, even when Indiana was making their comeback. I just feel like every time Indiana had some trash talking to say to the Celtics just showed their maturity and showed their experience, and they were the one that came out on top. What were your thoughts on all that little trash talk? I love it. I think it needs to be more.
I think when you have the best record in the NBA, you're gonna have a target on your back every single game. These teams are gonna want to beat you. These are the games that I think teams like the Thunder and the Pacers and the Pistons and the Magic, teams that have a really, really bright future, they're going to be good teams in 3 years. These are the games where they're really looking to see what they're made of. And these are the games they're circling. Teams like games against the Celtics and the Bucks and the Nuggets, these high-end teams where guys like Halliburton, guys like Miles Turner, they can come out there and really compete. And, you make a great point. I love it. I think it's great for both sides. I think it benefits the Pacers. And it gives them some experience. It benefits the Celtics because the Celtics need to know how to handle themselves when when it gets chippy, and you can't let your emotions get the best of you at times. And you have to approach this with a very mature and smart approach, because if you don't, you could find yourself with a technical foul or two couple of careless fouls that put you into foul trouble. So I really do think stuff like that is great for the game. I love it. I love trash talking. I think that, tonight you saw a lot of it. You saw Tatum on the ground with that loose ball with Benedict Mather, and he wouldn't give up that. He was making sure he came out of the pile with that basketball. The little things like that definitely goes a long way when you're trying to win a championship in the NBA. And I think the Boston Celtics did a great job at showing their championship pedigree, even though we don't really get the championship DNA badge yet. We came up short, but we do have the experience. We have been there, and I do think that showed tonight on the road in Indiana. And I think hopefully it'll continue to show in these last 21 games or so, because these are really big. These last handful of games are going to be huge, not just for standings, but these are the most important 20 games really for any team. The first 60, yes, they're important, but the last 20, 22 are probably, you could treat every game like a must win. If we look at the Lakers, right? Really, they have to win every game for the rest of the season. Look at us.
16 of their last 22.
Yeah, look at us last year, these last 22 games. The Celtics could go 5-17 and still find themselves in the playoffs. However, that's not what we're shooting for. We're shooting for the championship. So you want to go into the playoffs playing at a certain pace, playing at a certain flow, playing at a high level, so that when April comes, there's no rust to scratch off. There's no game 6 against the 8th seed in the first round, right? You really want to keep this momentum going, and it starts tonight. It started tonight against Indiana with the win, I think, on the road, and 8-2 in the last 10. 43-17, best record in the league, still a game ahead of Milwaukee despite a 12-game winning streak. That's pretty incredible. When the 3 seed wins 12 straight, they should usually have sole possession of the 1 seed, but they don't. So the Celtics, I think they got to go on their own little win streak here, Justin. Starts tomorrow night, I think. Tonight was a good one, but the big test, or not tomorrow night, Saturday night. I think Saturday night's a big test.
Yeah, for sure. And then on top of that, Milwaukee, you don't wish injuries upon anybody, but they're going to be missing Giannis Antetokounmpo for a little bit. Not as long as they thought, but any game they miss Giannis, they're another team that needs to stay healthy. Is the Milwaukee Bucks. Same thing with the Philadelphia 76ers, who we see here on Saturday night in Philly. Celtics have a 2-0 series, 3-0 or 2-0 series.
2-0, both times in Boston. Now we see them twice.
Yeah, opening night, and then last week we beat them without who is it? Who didn't play? Jaylen Brown got injured in the first quarter.
It was Brown, Smart, and Rob, and Al.
And Horford. So, oh my God. Oh, that was the Blake Griffin game, wasn't it? He scored like 50 points.
When Doc wouldn't make the adjustments. Yeah.
Look, man, like Philly, this could be a rough game in terms of not like the first two. Like Philly has to be pissed.
Philly on the road is always tough too.
For sure. But first off, like you're down 0-2 against Philly. I think the Celtics did lock up the season series against Philly, no matter what happens tomorrow night or Saturday night. But like you lost twice on your home court. First on opening night, and then the second one you lost when we were missing 4 to the 5 starters. Like that's embarrassing. That's a game Philly knows they should have taken that game. They know they should have won that game. They failed to make adjustments. They failed to listen to Doc Rivers, and they failed to win the game. And they're going to remember that on primetime, ABC, potential Eastern Conference Finals matchup, potential Eastern Conference semifinals rematch. That this is going to be big.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, going back to the standings point, right? Like when you have a team breathing down your neck, these next 10 games are huge for the Celtics for the standings. Because really these next 10 games, next 15 games are every team's going to be playing their full rotation if they're healthy, maximum minutes, because like I said, this is when your rotation slims down. Like these next 15 games, the seedings are determined. So Celtics only a game ahead of Milwaukee. In Philly being the 3 seed, a win against Philly would be huge.
Oh, totally. A win against Philly would be really big. If Philly lost, Philly ended up pulling out a 110-105 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. So that was in itself. They were down 17 in the first half, and a big block from Joel Embiid on John Morant sealed that deal 110 to 105. Philly now is on a 4-game win streak. That'll be 5, and they are 3 games back from the first seed. So that was a big win. That was a huge win from Philly tonight. They ended up coming back over the Memphis Grizzlies. So they're 39-19. That pulls them 3 games with the first seed. And as Rob said, this game essentially becomes a big game, not only for potential playoff matchup wise, but as well as seeding. As well as seeding. I don't know what's going on. Rob's connection's bad, but
Sorry, I'm good.
no, you're good. I was just saying how Philly got a win here tonight. They ended up making the comeback. They were down 17.
Yeah, I was out. Yeah, Jaren Jackson was doing his thing against Embiid. I don't know how it ended. I don't know how Embiid ended, but I know that
110 to 105 Philly. And so now Philly now 3 games back from first. So that this game not only potential playoff matchup, it's also now Philly's starting to creep up on the Celtics.
Yeah, it's a three-headed race right now. No team is out of the Philly's only 3 games back. That's not a lot. So
right.
Boston needs the C's have to look at these next 10 games as every single one is must win. You really need, I think, to secure the 1 seed. Heading into April, heading into the playoffs, you need an 8 to 10 game win streak. You just do. Because I think Philly has 1 left in them, and I think Milwaukee. They just had a 12-game win streak. No Giannis for a little bit. That's going to be shaky. He might miss a week or so. But still, they'll rack up some wins. So you got to see those win 6, lose 1, win 6 type. You got to go 12-1. You got to see that type of momentum flow here. I think it will. But yeah, Saturday night's a big one. We'll have you covered here after the final buzzer sounds on ABC. No NBC Sports Boston. It's nationally televised. 8:30 tip. It's going to be in for a late one. The C's pick up a big-time win, 142 to 138 on the road against the Indiana Pacers. Jason Tatum led all Celtics scorers. He had 31 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. But don't forget Jaylen Brown just behind him. He had 30 points and also 11 rebounds to add to the tally. The C's, like I said, playing Saturday night on the road against the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm Rob. Next to me is my co-host, Justin Lowe.